Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, that's Spanish. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this new session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. Today, we are going to review and learn about the Czech cluster landscape. Thank you very much to our speakers for being here to share with us that landscape. And thank you especially to Jiri Henike from the National Cluster Association, member of ECA, the European Cluster Alliance, from the beginning of our existence, I think, and very active also with us. I distinctly remember, Jiri, our last physical meeting in Georgia together. You remember? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, soon. I hope soon to be able to meet face to face again. Anyway, thank you, Jiri, again. And for now, the floor is yours. I'm giving you the presentation right.
Thank you, Antonio. I prepare only a short presentation about cluster landscape in the Czech Republic, and I will be followed by my colleagues Luboš and new cluster manager of Czech automobile cluster that these guys give you perfect examples how clusters are successful also in the Czech Republic. So let's go for it. Our cluster history in the Czech Republic began to be written in 2002. It's near 20 years. The Ministry of Industry and Trade and the implementation agency Czech Invest in 2002 implemented first feasibility study to identify industrial grouping in the North Moravian for targeted state aid. The study used two cluster concepts to help the reconversion of the Moravian Silesian region, which was known as a region with old-style heavy industry before. This was followed by the first Czech cluster organization establishment, the Moravian Silesian Engineering Cluster in 2003. This cluster still operates today under the name Czech Machinery Cluster, and it's the owner of bronze label of Cluster Excellence now. The National Cluster Strategy for Cluster Development was adopted by the Czech government in 2005. This document defines the strategic objectives, measures, and resources to support cluster development up to 2008. The strategy embeds clusters among the national and regional tools for boosting competitiveness. This strategy pinpointed the main principles for cluster development, helping SMEs to identify opportunities for cooperation and help them grow. It was 17 years ago where we started in a huge support of cluster organizations in the Czech Republic. Unfortunately, the strategy was not been updated and extended in 2008, and it was the most important impulse for the formation of the National Cluster Association in the Czech Republic in 2008, I mentioned. It was crucial that there should be someone to continue to defend the interests and develop the cluster policy. Even if there has been no official national strategy for cluster development, cluster organizations and technology platforms have been supported in their development, internationalization, and research and development activities continually since 2004 from European Union operational programs. And thank you to Ministry of Industry and Trade for this support. The first program from 2004 till 2006 was aimed at two phases of cluster development: mapping potential cluster initiatives and support establishment of the clusters and their development. The result was 42 projects in the first phase and 12 first cluster initiatives founded in the second phase. The support for cluster continues in the current programming period. Nowadays, it focuses on supporting development and mainly internationalization and research and development. Our program no longer supported mapping of potential cluster initiatives. And we also support projects like ERANET from Project Cornet, for example. A strong role in supporting was played also regions. Czech Republic is divided into 14 regions with regional development, and some regions funded the regional cluster directly from their regional budgets. As a result of the cluster development efforts, around 60 to 70 clusters organizations have been established in the Czech Republic so far. Strong clusters emerged in processing industries like machinery, precise engineering, technical textile, plastics, packaging, optics and photonics or wood, and also in various technology areas like environmental technologies, biotechnology and medicine, nanotechnology, ICT, and also services, social innovations and creative industries. Of course, not all cluster organizations are efficient, but there are about 30 cluster organizations that can consider very capable, that help their members and provide all the usual services. Most of them are members of the NCA, and the remaining ones will join the NCA this year, I believe. Many cluster organizations are involved in International Horizon and Interact projects and others. Many have their own research and development capacities and implement their own research and development projects. Examples of successful cluster organizations can be enjoyed after my presentation by my colleagues. And what about National Cluster Association? The NCA is the only relevant organization that currently represents all progressive cluster organizations and technology platforms in the Czech Republic. NCA has relations with central and regional governments, regions, innovation centers, digital innovation hubs, and of course, innovation companies in the Czech Republic, which is the most important, I think. From my point of view, the most important activities are in the area of providing information and advice to our members, networking activities, lobbying, and promoting international cooperation. Also, mapping the current situation among clusters organizations is very important. This is the reason we developed the cluster map, which NCA launched in 2019. Map of clusters in the Czech Republic shows cluster organizations sorted by their location by regions, and in each region is also possible to see which companies are members of any cluster organizations in the Czech Republic. This tool is not very important for us and is also used for implementation of S3 strategy in the Czech Republic. The big challenge for this year is to launch a systematic cross-cluster, cross-industrial collaboration to take advantage of the treasure that lies among the members of cluster organizations and technology platforms. A key tool is the detailed profile of our cluster members, NCA members, and NCA is working hard on it. The profiles will extend the functionality of the existing cluster map. It will be cluster map version 2. The profile is very comprehensive. It includes information on the involvement of cluster organizations in national and international projects, information on the activities of the working groups, cooperation, foreign entities, and more. We see two main benefits doing this. The questions in the profiles are from all areas that cluster organization should provide for its members. Immediately when completing the profile, we give cluster managers feedback on where they are good and in which area they can improve. The profile could also be used as a benchmarking tool, but this is not our primary priority now. Once we have finished collecting of all of the information, we will have a detailed structured knowledge of our membership base. We will have an overview of foreign partners and foreign countries where our members have contacts. We will know what projects our members are involved in, what languages they speak, what area they are strong in, what digital innovation hubs they are involved in, and so more. NCA will then be able to target our support more precisely. And the most important thing is that cluster organizations will then be able to help each other with their members' export and other international activities. We will have information that will be important for the national government or in implementation of the S3 strategy. This is our biggest challenge for this year, to complete this project, these profiles, and I hope everything will be finished by the end of this year. But as I mentioned, it's hard work. And finally, a couple words about other services of NCA. In the area of networking, the most important are the regular online meetings of NCA members, I think, which are held every month. Members share their offers and inquiries with each other, and one member is introduced at each online session, and also educational topic is included. Sessions last 1 or 1.5 hours every month and are very popular with among our members. Then there is cluster days in the Czech Republic, which we organize once or twice a week as a 2-day meeting for our members and stakeholders from the regional and national level. This is the perfect opportunity to show the importance of clusters to our stakeholders and also establish new collaborations during the networking event. Networking evening is very important, I think, because I remember that my first cluster teacher, I4 from Cluster Navigators from New Zealand, told us that the perfect tool for cluster development is alcoholic application. So This is very fresh idea and still working. Although the COVID crisis put a crimp in our plans, we still managed to organize 5 conferences focused on digitalization and cybersecurity last year. NCA also provides members with regular information on the service and update grant opportunities signpost on a regular basis. We are in regular contact with representatives of Ministry and Industry and Trade, the Czech Technology Agency, network of Czech technology transfer offices, and others. We connect lobbying and providing information and consultations to our members, for example, in obtaining the Cluster Excellence label or with the management of the project agenda. NCA is also part of the European Digital Innovation Hub Consortium, the same as many of our members. We have, I think, 5 or 6 EDIH, European Digital Innovation Hubs in the Czech Republic now. Through our cluster managers, we have influence on S3 strategy and its implementation. Many cluster managers are the members of the regional innovation groups in regions and help our regions with the S3 agenda. Over the last 2 years, we more focused also to help with internationalization, especially by helping our members to become the member of international consortia, help them to start with international projects. We also provide partner search and, as I mentioned, grant signpost. Last 2 years, we also enables the educational project we received enables us to offer comprehensive management training for our members companies in the last 2 years. And finally, where is the NCA going? The main goal is fostering collaboration between our members and among their members. This is a group of very clever people, innovation companies, and there is a lot of treasure among them. So by using our profiles, we would like use the enormous potential that cluster organizations have, and to get more involved also in international projects. NCA, it's a National Cluster Association itself, and also involve more members. And finally, help more cluster organizations achieve a cluster excellence and obtain bronze, silver, and gold label, as we are members of U-Class, new organization for doing this. So I think this is all I would like to say. A couple of words about National Cluster Association, and thank you for your attention.
Excellent presentation, Jiri. Thank you to you and congratulations. It's a very interesting approach, that profiling, the mapping that you are doing of your cluster environment. So it's something to think about for several of us, okay? Because we know. Let's speak about it later. For now, we are going to welcome to the discussion to Libor Doves. I don't know, Libor, are you there? Because you were.
Yeah, yes, I'm here. Will you allow me to share, please? Yes.
Yes. Now we are seeing your screen, but not in full screen
Just
mode yet.
bear with me.
There. Ah, it's perfect. Thank you, Rivas.
Maybe I used the pointer. Rome?
Now we are seeing now your screen in full
Yeah.
screen. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. You are in the first page, I suppose.
Okay, so we are the Moravian Silesian Automotive Cluster. That's a full name translated from the Czech language that we are legally recognized. We use the shorter name of Auto Cluster, as you can see above. Who are we and what do we do? Well, we are the member of the Czech National Cluster Association, as Mr. Henrik said. We are the member of the Czech Automotive Industry Association, which encompasses about 140 different companies linked to the automotive business. We are the part of the Moravian Silesian group that is linked to the development of the local project here. And we are also the part of the European Automotive Cluster Network and cooperate with European Lightweight Cluster Alliance for some specific technical projects. And definitely within the Czech Republic, we work very closely to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Social Affairs, Czech Invest, regional government in North Moravia, local development centers, re-strategies, digital innovation hub here, mobile innovation hub, mobility innovation hub, chamber of commerce, etc. So similar to NCA, we work as the information provider, but on top of that, we very well work in much more details in the business practices, new business practices for the members, technical projects that encompass more members, and education from the high schools up to the school graduates. To go slow, Adame. Here we are. We are in the North Moravia. The reason for us being creating here was that it was pretty heavy in the past by the machinery industry that was later translated into the support of the automotive industry. As you can see on this screen, it's about 250 kilometers perimeter showing 15 OEMs within the perimeter. It's Volkswagen Group, it's Fiat, it's Ford, so and Toyota, it's different companies, and of course with them are coming dozens of the automotive part suppliers, and many of those are the members of us. Here we are in the Czech Republic. You see the map is pretty populated with the tier 1 suppliers everywhere in the Czech Republic, supporting various OEMs in Europe or globally. We have about 86 tier suppliers in the Czech Republic, tier 1s, out of which 13 tier 1s are the member of Auto Cluster. And we have 25 tier 2s and tier 3s that are members. So we are quite populated with the production facilities being the member of our club. We do not have obviously any OEM. Here are some of the marks of the key tier 1 suppliers. And they are also very good source of the knowledge of the best practices and can show to smaller members how the business can be organized, and it's highly appreciated by our small members. This is the one-pager showing the whole history of the cluster. On the left side, you can see that we work with the tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. And then we are focused on education projects. We are focused on R&D, and then on business and technical projects. We started in 2006 and then developed the activities across many years. In 2009, started with the international projects and then continued with the growth of the alliance itself, up to the current state of 89 members. and running a variety of projects and activities, as you can see in the tiles in this screen. I can discuss later. It's quite a busy chart, so I'm not going to comment it. In terms of funding, we use the public sources, we use private, and we use our own sources for funding. So it's usually it's combined. Mostly we work on the principles where the activity is developed or the project is developed. It's co-funding. Some share of us or some share of the company, some share of the public funding being either from the Czech Republic or from abroad, depends. Well, in principle, we stay on three major legs, and that's human resource development, it's business relation, the second, and research and development activities. Here you can see the first one, that we work on human resource development for our members. We've created a center of experts that comes out of the best knowledgeable people in our companies, knowing the specific processes, and they can help within the forums to the other companies interested in getting some best knowledge. We have many training programs for the employees and students. We train people in the companies. There are hundreds of people trained over the years. We do have some typical courses like the soft skills, hard skills. The more focused ones are like the CATIA design or experience softwares used for designers. We do have the leadership training by well-known Franklin Covey agency, or the personal profile development by Hansen Beck, etc. So lots of courses, specific ones. All of them are driven by the needs of our members, and we do all the programs as per what's recognized as a help to the members of the cluster. On the right-hand side, you see our more or less founder, Ladja Glogar, who was my predecessor, with a toy in his hands, and it's a wooden toy for the kids in the kindergartens that helps to recognize different shapes of the parts. They can design whatever they want. They can work together in competing who provides a better design. So it's like the very basics of the technical skills are already developed in the kindergartens, and then we continue with the support of the high schools, and we work very closely with the universities in the Czech Republic. Actually, it's like 5 high schools are the members of a cluster. They are usually technical schools, and there are 5 universities. Technical universities are the member of the cluster. We work with them on the specific research and development projects for our members. Second leg is the business relationship. There we help all the members to catch up with the state-of-the-art processes and technologies. You can see that they have a chance to meet with tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers that are the members of automotive cluster. We organize usually once a year business day that we provide in some of our tier 1 members, and they show the plant tour, and they show some specific processes that are common for many more members. Of course, not a secret design practices, etc., but they show what's common and what can be learned from them. Very highly appreciated by the smaller members, because they can see that the world can be organized differently. What they have seen already in the small companies, they can implement from the big ones, from the international companies, the best practices. Then we have a list of the specific projects, and we continue running these projects on an annual basis. So one of them was Impact, for instance. In the research and development, it's quite heavy. That's our focus on the research of the specific project for our members in the projects linked to the plastic material processing, molding, injection molding process, manipulation and handling, and then using of the collaborative robots and robots in the companies. Actually, we have our own workshop where we run the pilot studies on some cobots and robots. and then we run these projects for the members they are interested in. The beauty of it is that even though it's quite expensive project on its own, when we share the results with 3 or 4 companies and then share the cost, the exposure of the risk and the cost is much lower, and there are benefits for our members. All in all, it's like 22 major projects accomplished historically, and then dozens of the small ones. Currently, we are in the stage of 7 major projects being in progress, 2021, 22, 23. And in historical pie chart, you can see that we spent like one quarter of our cost in HR development or people development, 27% on cluster development, 15% infrastructure. It's our workshop, so it's a testing hub, that's a collaborative robots hub, etc. And then 35% we spend with the universities and the companies on research and development of specific processes that are used across the companies and are not necessarily specific only to the automotive. This is the example of our support to the high schools. It was called Auto Academy. We've recognized in the past from our members that the students coming from the schools do have a gap in the education of the very basic techniques, things and processes used in the automotive, and hence this was developed, and learning people at a high school level how to manage projects, participate in projects, how to lead, how to run the lean processes, logistics, and innovation. Here's another project that we've run with the high schools, and it's called Green Wheels, with the approach of the electromobility in the Czech Republic. It's recognized as a place where they could learn a lot about the electric vehicles, and it was something really fresh and new. So very good projects for high school students that has a platform based in the EU. They can learn from the active web pages and can quickly catch up with the best what exists in electromobility. Research and development projects, as I stated, work with the robots and cobots, manipulation, handling, visual control, and then some assembly. Here in terms of the plastics, so it's a help in the processing of the plastics in injection molding for our members by some associated groups of technical universities or the companies that are focused on modeling of the processes in plastic process, and that help across the supply base using similar resins. Another example is the metal, lightweight metal, an approach to decrease the weight of the parts in the vehicle. So it's across several uses of the materials, especially now we've started with the metals like aluminium. And here is another one that's very successful in terms of the processing the injection molding. You need to be able to optimize the heating and the heating and then cooling up the mold. It's a very sophisticated process, losing lots of data, lots of modeling that we get the help from the universities or the agencies, and can help the members to optimize the process, get a shorter cycle time, and get a better price. So that's just the example of what we do. And that's about it. I guess it's about my 10 minutes. Should there be more debate, then I'm free to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome, Libor. Thank you. I'm sure we will come back to you at the end of the presentation. So now it's the time to yeah, thank you. It's time to welcome again Lubos Komarek. Hi, Lubos.
Hello, I will try to share the screen. Just a second. It should be working, hopefully. Yeah, it's on the third screen, so just a second. Okay, hopefully you will see the right monitor. Do you see the presentation?
Yes, we are seeing your screen.
Yes, that's great. That was the objective.
Perfect.
So hello everybody again. As Antonio knows me also, and I know a couple of you, we had the pleasure to meet. You know that I'm a man of less pictures, but a lot of words. So my presentation has only 5 slides. And if you want afterwards, I can give you any detailed information by mail or by, I don't know, we can have a chat or something. So the topic was the cluster landscape. So the objective was to show you, talk about the national support program and how we use it from the perspective of the cluster organizations, because NanoProgress started to benefit from this national scheme since the beginning it was created. So we have quite experience in this. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat. So we will go to these afterwards. And I have also a small surprise in the presentation. So stay tuned and check it very wisely, very closely. So the National Support Scheme, it was created in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, or 8, by the Ministry of Industry and Trade, together with the National Cluster Association and the Agency for Supporting the Business Development. The scheme is funded by European Regional Investment Fund, so there are different levels of support. We got 50% for some activities, 70% for, especially for R&D activities. Supporting areas, there are 4 supporting areas. First is internationalization. The objective is to foster the cross-sector, cross-border collaboration in R&D and business around Europe and abroad. The support of innovation, the objective is to support joint innovative projects where you have a consortium of more national stakeholders, SMEs and R&D institutions. And especially R&D institutions, in any project there must be R&D institution. Then there is an area of joint infrastructure building. In this part you can buy and develop together with third entities some equipment and post it to the laboratories that are shared among the members. We have seen one of these examples in the auto cluster a while ago. And then there is a cluster development scheme. Of course, the cluster development scheme is focusing on supporting the internal and external processes, communication, marketing, whatever, to get much better performance in the cluster management. So these are the supporting scheme, and I will go one by one. In the internationalization scheme, you can eligible costs are costs for travel, especially at the European level. You can also go abroad for exchanges, for visiting some fairs, and for international marketing, also for the employees. So that's quite important. You can also gather some specific intelligence even from the foreign companies. So this is the case where not only Czech companies can supply the service, but also companies from abroad. So what this brought to us, to our cluster organizations? First and foremost, when this scheme started, I was entering the NanoProgress that time, and I remember that I sent over 100 emails to international cluster organizations. We didn't have internationalization at all. And the German cluster organization BalticNet Plasmatech starting to develop projects with us. And after 6 years, we had already 5 projects together, and it was really amazing. And we also saw each other. We saw in many national fairs and the events for cluster stakeholders, and this was also sometimes paid for by the Commission, but sometimes also from this kind of supporting scheme. So it was very valuable for us in terms of partnership. And then in 2018, we created European Economic Interest Grouping. It's a legal structure that joins 6 cluster organizations. 3 more are coming, and has a reach almost towards 2,000 SMEs and innovation actors at the European levels. We are developing a lot of joint collaboration in this ecosystem, and now we are at the time that we would like to join it with another grouping and having more broader focus to more industries, because this one is for smart packaging. Even if this is multi-sectoral approach, we would like to have also focus on digitalization and environment, because all our clusters or majority of the members has some overlaps in this sense. And of course, the most valuable outcome from this supporting scheme and these activities is that we had the opportunity to meet you guys on many events, and we are very, very happy for this. This is a picture from the EU official event in Bucharest, and I don't see the chat or something, but have you seen Valdo in this picture? You can write it in the chat. Who will find him? You have exactly 10 seconds to do this. So yeah, here is Valdo. So this was just to check your attention if you are really attentive. Okay. Another scheme was the innovation support. I joined the two topics, the support of joint R&D projects and the infrastructure building to this one. So how could cluster organization benefit in the scheme? You could create, since the beginning, you could create projects for R&D that the results can come up to the tier level of 5, and you don't need the then open public tenders, and you could get around I think 2 million or 1.5 million euros per project, which is quite nice. The funding is 70% in this case, and you could develop many interesting things since the technology up to the research. Of course, you can have R&D employees inside. You can cover your material, your rent, and second step is the building the infrastructure. This is the way the Czech national scheme supports innovation, and this scheme has really good feedback, especially from the universities or companies, because Czech cluster organizations takes the administrative burden. So the companies and the R&D centers can do their research and try to develop products. And they don't need to, put everything into the system, do all this paperwork. So for them, it's very, very valuable, and the Czech national supporting scheme is very important. What did we do in this scheme? We were there, as I said, since 2010. We started 2007-8 started the scheme. 2010 we started as a cluster organization to benefit from it. So we developed a new technology for production nanofibers. I will discuss about it briefly. But what was the most important, that we checked the application of the planar nanofiber structures into various industries. First was nanofiltration. So what you see in the picture is basically yarn that it's covered by nanofibers. And the nanofibers can stick on the surface, and we use from this candle filters. And if you filter red wine on specific filters, it turns white. So in the south of Czech Republic, where are all the winemakers, yeah, they will be not that happy. So we changed the structure of the filter, and now it's filtering particles not up to the level of nano, but also the level of sub-nano, the level of hundreds of nano. So then it can clear the wine, and it stays the same. And it has the same flavor. So it's another step. These filters can be used also in the filtration of swimming pools, because when you are in the hotel, normally they go and check the water in the swimming pool in the morning after you put all the chemicals inside, and by the evening you don't have a water, you have a sludge, so it's really dirty. So our objective, and now we are making long-term tests, was to take out this bad part of the chemicals and filter it up to the level of nano, so you don't need to put inside the chemicals. Another part of the innovation which we were developing since the beginning was skin covers, because nanofibers can simulate your tissue extracellular matrix, and they are as the scaffolds for cells to grow. So we had a patient 0, let's say, it was in national TV 2 weeks ago, I think, who has a really big burn on his body, and who used skin covers from nanofibers. and something amazing happens, that new skin was created completely functional, not the scarf, but skin. So this is another result of our innovation. And the third was water remediation. These yarns are very interesting for bacteria. If you put bacteria on these yarns and you submerge these into the water, the biofilm of the bacteria will grow quickly, and you can destroy very heavy pollutants such as nitrates or phosphates. Now we are also making research in the part of the pesticides, but this is a bit different. So this is what we essentially did in the innovation sector. Of course, I could give you 20 more examples, but we don't have time for this. Great was that we were creating a new infrastructure. We built three centers. My wife is behind the door. So, we built 3 centers, and we created 8 equipment for production of nanofibers. What was amazing that during these projects we created laboratory equipment, and with our new company, new spin-off, we pushed the level of the equipment up to the industrial production. So we have something which is completely worldwide unique. Next supporting area is the cluster growth. So in this sense, of course, the goal of the ministry and of the provider of the funds is to create excellent cluster organizations. We had something like a national system of excellence. This we would like to develop more with National Cluster Association in order to be more versatile and more closer to the cluster organizations. Of course, you can use the employees, so you can get 50% funding for the employees. You can organize national events, and you can also pay the process of the cluster excellence evaluation. What was the big outcome from this supporting scheme for us? That when we begin in 2010, we had 3 or 4 employees. We had some employees to research and development. After the years, today we have 21 employees in the cluster management staff. So that's very good and very helpful. Since March of this year, we have 2 cluster managers, and so we changed a bit the structure of our cluster organization, and everything. All these changes were possible due to the supporting scheme, because without it we couldn't have grown. Of course, there was also support from the European projects, but this one helped a lot. Also, we got the gold label of cluster excellence, because we are in this nice family of labeled European cluster organizations. And especially what was very interesting for us, that we are, I think, the first cluster organization, I don't know about European level, but at least at the national level, that we created a spin-off organization. Because when we started the cluster, our vision was to create our own R&D team, R&D employees, give them a lot of know-how about the production technology and its application, and by the end to take this core, take it outside the cluster ecosystem, because it's quite different, and because it's association on profit, and create company that will be providing benefits to the cluster organization and will coexist at the tier level. Because the national projects, they offer us the possibility to develop the technology to the level 5, more or less. So our spin-off, it's using this result to the level 8. And first very nice example was the development of the equipment, and we are still focusing further. We would like to upscale it, and in the horizon of 1 year we would like to have a production facility that will be completely independent, and this facility will bring the benefits also to the cluster organization, paying royalties and supporting financially the running and the services of the cluster. So we are heading to the end of the presentation. I could give you some more figures, that we spent 40 millions of euros in the R&D, but what is really important message that I would like to leave here is that the supporting scheme that the ministry invented, even though of course it's not perfect for everybody, but it's very meaningful and very important for the national ecosystem. And we are with National Cluster Association always trying to make these small improvements based on the feedback from the field, because of course National Cluster Association is the only association who knows the cluster organizations, who knows how they struggle, what they do. No another agency can have this kind of information, also the mapping and benchmarking. So it's a very important scheme, and if you would like to know more about it, we are definitely open to share. So let us know if you have some questions, leave them in a comment, and thank you very much for your time, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
You are very welcome, Lubos, and congratulations. Excellent example of excellent success story, I would say. And as Lucia, sorry, just asked, we need to know more about that scheme. Okay, how do you plan to move ahead, and what kind of possible conflicts of interest could you have with your members? Okay, that's a very interesting point. I don't know. It's time to open the floor for questions, and perhaps that could be the first one. What is your experience? Are you competing with your own members or not?
Should I start or somebody?
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't know if I'm sharing the screen still. Okay, stop. Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay, perfect. To some point, of course, the big advantage of the clusters in Czech Republic that we have many organizations that are complementary, so we are not that much overlapping the focus, because of course automotive is different than nanotechnology, even though we can overlap somewhere. And then the cluster supporting scheme has I would say enough funds for supporting everybody. So in the National Cluster Association, of course, we have some overlaps here and there, but I don't see us as direct competitors. And I would say that the key part is also the National Cluster Association, because Jiří and Ivo and the others, they facilitate the collaboration, and they always lead it very calmly and very supportingly, and we didn't have any big issues.
I need to say that in my experience, it's very common to be competing in some way with your own members. We are providing, for example, trainings, and I have many members working on that field, but we are trying to go wherever they don't go usually, okay, or looking for covering some services that are not very well covered by them. It's kind of inevitable. Okay, so we have many questions in the chat. I see one from Marek. Marek, will you comment?
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, it's fantastic we have these opportunities to go country by country on the cluster landscape. And it's natural question, as you know, in cohesion policy, the smart specialization is very embedded, and in new programming, then as well as the governance of smart specialization, and of course, clusters should play a pivotal role. So I wonder if you can refer to what extent you are involved in the process of designing and then implementing the smart specialization. It's one. The second, if I may already, there is the cluster collaboration platform, as you know, and this is the European Cluster Collaboration Platform that we as European Commission own, and we have the mapping of all clusters. I see there's a big gap between what you have in your mapping and what we have in cluster collaboration. So I would encourage you to encourage your clusters to still fill in the profile, because it's a lost opportunity that the other clusters in Europe cannot see that your clusters exist. So please, and this is very important for internationalization, because we've been preparing now new calls in direct management from Horizon or from the single market program, and we see that the participation of cluster or organizations from particularly Central Eastern Europe is still very limited. And I think this internationalization, what Lubos pointed out is the way forward, definitely, in order to integrate in the networks with the EU, because simply there's lots of knowledge, lots of entrepreneurship, lots of potential in this region, which is not known in the rest of the Europe. Okay, thank you very much.
Maybe I try to answer. There are two questions.
I think there is a nice question from Lucia.
Giri, your sound is far. It's kind of not very good. Could you?
And is it better now?
Now it's far better.
Now it's better?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there are two questions. One is related to S3 and second with ECCP. In the Czech Republic, clusters and especially cluster managers were involved in the national and regional innovation platforms. In Czech Republic, there were two phases, as in other countries, I think, mapping and preparing as free strategy. And during this period, clusters played an important role in mapping some sectors, and there will be the part of innovation platforms in the national and also regional levels. And during the implementation phase, cluster managers are also the members of regional innovation platforms, I think, in all regions in the Czech Republic. And some of the strategic projects which are developing under the S3 strategies, starting from the clusters. And the second part of the answer, ECCP. I know it very well, and maybe as I mentioned in the end of my presentation, NCA will focus not only to prepare our members to receive gold label and silver label, and during the preparing profiles on the NCA, we also ask our members to fill in the profile on the ECCP, because my goal is have 100% members of NCA, 100% of NCA members should have ECCP profile completed. So maybe this is second part of the answer.
Thank you, Giri. The point with the S3 is, you know, that they are in a renewal process just now, okay? And we are working to increase the participation of clusters on those S3, the new S3 or S4 with the sustainable strategies, and not only on the definition of them, but also on the implementation phase. You know, and that is something that it's happening now, and we need to be very, very active on that area. Meaning we need to go, knock the door, say, hi guys, we can really contribute not to the definition, not just to the definition, but also to the implementation. You know that yesterday we had the first meeting of the I3 expert group, the expert group on interregional innovative investments. There will be goals for that kind of projects by the second half of this year, and clusters can play an important role on the S3 platforms and on building the proposals for those I3 investments, you know. And so I will recommend you to work on it. If you are not working, probably most of you are working, but those that are not so aware, it's very good if you spread the knowledge, the recommendation, and as I say, participate actively on the process if you think that it makes sense. And for the ECCP, sorry.
Maybe quick comment, Antonio.
For sure.
Some of our members are involved in this kind of platforms. For example, CREA Hydro and Energy is involved in Water Treatment Alliance, which is one of biggest S3 platform. Maybe Luboš at some new example.
No, actually, we brought the water smart territories to CREA. No, it's with Zena with the cluster from Spain, and we are actively involved. There are 4 working groups. They work with the local municipalities, Liberec district, Olomouc district, and I think Moravian Silesian. And there are 4 topics around the water, and it works quite well. Yeah, there are overlaps with the smart specializations, strategies, and there are a lot of exchanges. And this is definitely due to one important fact, that the owners of the S3 water smart territories are very active, and also that the people from the regions, the regional policymakers are active. These are the most important facts that it quite worked. So yeah. So we are all there.
That's
I think excuse me, there is a lot of very important things we are doing in the Czech Republic. So I think we need to improve our presentation in the national level.
I know that the time is running, so I think that there is one question that should be answered, the one from Lucia for the spin-off.
Go on,
okay, the idea of the spin-off or of the separated company was there since the beginning of my arrival to Cluster since 2014, and we were developing new technology for production of nanofibers. We were developing it with Technical University, so up to the level of TRL5, and then together with another producer of the equipment, based on our knowledge, because we created a team that was researching the production of nanofibers internally in NanoProgress. Since 2017, we pushed this technology further. So it's really great question if there is a conflict of interest with the R&Ds. I would say that there is no conflict because we are going to provide them royalties. I'm not speaking about license because we have a patent that we bought in 2010, which is the most important patent that we have, and it's owned by NanoProgress. So the idea of spin-off is to push the results to the market, because there are many companies in cluster. They use our services, they develop products, and they are like, and nobody gets anything. So nor the university, which was the starter, nor NanoProgress. And by this, we really are completely transparent in this, and we would like to provide this kind of reasonable money, because we are talking about 2 to 5% of fee to the R&D centers, and we are helping them to develop the technology further. So there's conflict of interest only that we cannot participate in the cluster projects because we are interlinked. So we cannot benefit, unfortunately, from the Czech National Support Scheme, but this is not our goal. Our goal is to push everything further on and to work as a subcontractor for production. And this is the last part. All the employees that were serving the equipment in our laboratory, they are in the company, and the board of directors allows it, and especially we did completely transparent contract spin-off between NanoProgress and Nanotech, and even myself, I asked the members, all the members to approve that there is no conflict of labor law, that I can really work on this position. So there can be some jealousy or something, but I think, and everybody sees it as an opportunity. So we now bought a building, and we are reconstructing it to production hall, and hopefully in 1 year we will have a production hall with unique equipment, and we will push to go to the market. So that's, if you have, Lucia, some questions or feedback, please feel free to open.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you very much, Lubos, for the explanation. No further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that this question arises quite often because they say, yeah, you can steal the results. No, we are completely open. We work on this in the laboratory for last 5 years. We develop the new equipment, not technical university. Of course, we will give them what they deserve. Of course, we will give them some fees and stuff, but it was our work, our extra work, and our extra load for last 5-6 years. So yeah, that's all.
Very clear. Thank you, Lubos, and congratulations. So I think it's time to close, because if not, we will surpass too much the time. Okay, but it has been extremely interesting, rich. Please fulfill all the Czech clusters. Fulfill your profile in the ECCP. It's very important to have you map it there, and that will open the way for many more collaboration, international collaboration with you. And anyway, congratulations for the work that you are doing as National Cluster Association and as individual cluster. Thank you, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and for everyone, AutoCluster is already registered there, and a fresh profile exists. You can use it. Feel free to contact us. Have a nice day.
Good, Libor. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.